Harry's Wife, Part 104.44. Archetypes, Jeopardy. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The latest beige offering from Harry's Wife provides us with another opportunity to analyse her narcissism in action. One segment, as reported in the Daily Mail, states, Harry's wife wishes she was living la dolce vita with her friend Melody Hobson over the summer. Harry's wife said she was jealous after hearing about Melody Hobson's summer. You mean envious. Once again, she doesn't get her words correct. Just so that you know, envy is where you want something that somebody else has. So, for instance, you're envious of your friend's new Bentley Continental. Jealousy is the fear of losing something. So, for instance, if you think your boyfriend or girlfriend is going to leave you, you're jealous of your girlfriend. If your girlfriend has got lovely teeth that you would like, you're envious of her teeth. If you have power and you want to hold on to it, such as the dictator in North Korea, he's jealous of his power. That's the distinction. Envy is wanting something that somebody else has got. Jealousy is wanting to keep something and you fear losing it. You're welcome. Returning to Harry's wife and her inability to use words correctly, opening her conversation with Ms. Hobson, Harry's wife said, "Oh, it's so nice to see you. Before we jump in, how is summer?" The podcast was edited, so listeners do not hear Melody's response. Be interested to know what she said. Maybe she told Harry's wife to mind her own business. But Harry's wife says, "I'm so envious." Ah, you've got it right there. Well done. "I wish I had just been living la dolce vita with you." Although the Duchess of Sussex did not describe what she did, the end of the summer period for her was dominated by the Sussex's pseudo-royal tour of Europe, which began in the first weekend of September. And days later, on Thursday, September the 8th, the Queen died, which extended her and Harry's time in the United Kingdom by a fortnight. The article continues by explaining the Duchess of Sussex, 41, released the 8th episode of her podcast today, which was titled To Be or Not to Be, and featured Victoria Jackson, the makeup mogul, and Melody Hobson, the chairwoman of Starbucks. During the introduction to the show, the royal mother of two spoke of her love of television shows and movies, saying she spent a lot of time in front of the TV growing up. She went on to reveal Jeopardy was her favourite show growing up, adding, "I would eat my dinner on a TV tray in front of the screen, watching each category with bated breath and intense focus, trying to absorb whatever facts they were firing off in the form of a question." Well, maybe somebody else has been talking about watching Jeopardy and she's engaged in some character trait acquisition, because as we know, she's got form for repeated revisions of history. She added that host Alex Trebek was a daily part of her life, even claiming that when he died in November 2020, she received messages of condolences. That is fucking ridiculous. You watch a television show that you may have watched, you may not have watched, and you may have told people that you watch this show and you very much enjoy it. But my ghast will be flabbered if anybody seriously contacted her and said, "Oh, are you all right, little pumpkin? Alex Trebek has died." Bollocks they did. Who on earth contacts somebody and asks, "Are you okay?" just because a television host who you didn't actually know but you enjoyed watching his TV programme had died? They don't. And that strikes me as once again the magical thinking of Harry's wife, along the lines of the cast member of The Lion King who purportedly told her that when she got married to Prince Harry, everybody in South Africa celebrated in the same way they did when Nelson Mandela was freed from prison. Bollocks. This attitude is one whereby the narcissist with their magical thinking believes everybody loves them. They believe that, for instance, everybody wants to sleep with them, that the person that they're talking to fancies them, and they misinterpret politeness, friendliness as, "Oh my God, please bang my brains out." With Harry's wife, her narcissism tells her that such was the close personal connection that she had with Alex Trebek, and that everybody knew that when he died, people sent her messages of condolences. I ought to think that would be filed under "didn't happen." Harry's wife started the podcast by saying, at this point in the series, I think we've established that I spent a lot of time in front of the TV growing up. I loved movies and shows. I had my favourite programmes, and as we continue to unearth with Archetypes, many of them can be influenced by pop culture and by the media. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, my generation, we were raised with television the same way that this generation is raised with social media. Well, I would suggest that somebody who is purportedly 41, you would really say that your growing up was done during the 90s and the 2000s, because you're just a young child during the 80s. Indeed, she was born in 1981, she'd been 5 or 6 in 86, 87. And therefore, is she giving something away there by talking about growing up in the 1980s because she's actually older than she actually claims to be? Who knows? We didn't have that then. There was no Instagram or TikTok. You couldn't even record shows. Well, actually you could. There were these things called video recorders, which were knocking around from the late 70s, early 80s. VHS and Betamax. Betamax, of course, being a superior format, but lost out because it didn't have the range of titles that VHS did. So again, to state you couldn't even record shows, nonsense. There we are. She then continues, unless you had a blank VHS tape that you could race to queue up at the exact time. Right, so you can record shows then. So you'd hope not to miss your favourite show. For Gen Z listeners, you're going to have to Google, or I guess TikTok, what I'm even talking about. But for those of you who remember these days, you'll also remember the shows that you were always ready for. Now for me, this was Jeopardy. Jeopardy was my favourite show growing up, and I would eat my dinner on a TV tray in front of the screen. I should imagine that those who have a better handle on what she has said in the past with regard to what she's done and what she's watched will probably point out that previously she said something along the lines of, I didn't watch a lot of television, I was too busy running around the neighbourhood or being a good girl guide or such like, and that we will find that this is another contradiction and revision of history. Of course, it's not a surprise when it comes to Harry's wife. Let's dip down again below the line, because it was quite entertaining, the level of repetitiveness, talking about respect. But let's see if anybody moves on to what she has to say about this in terms of liking Jeopardy, etc. R.L. Stein, if everybody else is always the problem, maybe the problem isn't everyone else. EL12, while I believe that being polite to people is a given, you have to earn respect. Porteous, I always thought that respect was earned and not a right. Butterfly Bieber, no, some people are just difficult. Tricky personalities, just plain difficult, especially if lots of people reach the same decision about said person. Wheelsy, her negativity on literally everything is exhausting. Mildred Roper, respect is earned, not a right. And Poppet, respect should be earned. Sweeps Frazzle, so the words fail me for this awful person. Harry, what have you put us through? Cheryl X, respect is earned and not given. Jaybird, no, you earn respect. Centre of the Action, 86. Let's be clear, this is gaslighting her victims who remain deeply traumatised by the experience of working for Harry's wife. For shame. Rubicon, what a precious person she is. How many words can she actually make mean something else? Time is ticking away. It must be exhausting arguing with everyone and always being in the right. Sick of woke. Agree with others. Respect has got to be earned. None so wise. Poor Harry. Angelis must be happy still making headlines here. BCT24. Once again, she thinks she can say and act how she wants without criticism. Being her means being above everyone else, never being wrong, never having to say sorry. Same old thing. Newshound Mutt. What is she rambling on about? MJ Birch. Again, she misuses language. This is not gaslighting at all. Proper gaslighting is a psychological manipulation used to pretty much make the other person question their reality. It's not having a different opinion or interpretation of someone. So lazy to use it this way, and is becoming used to shut down any conversation as a trump card. The face of reason. Does she not stop? Bob the 74682. She has absolutely no idea. How does difficult translate to what she is? Mr. Beef. Why are people actually going on this podcast with her? Annie1234. Respect is earned. under his wings. Does anyone even listen to her going on and on about herself? No, thanks. Salford Red Devil, you earn respect, Harry's wife, you don't demand it. Lucy, nothing wrong in being a strong-minded woman. It's how you use that to behave towards other people, which is the problem. Kid Intent. It does not evoke confidence when the feather-brained is advising or pontificating to high-powered business managers. But more worrying is, are they actually listening? Sheridan M. What on earth makes her think she's some strong independent trailblazer? She married a prince and is rich and famous because of him. It's probably the least feminist thing one can do. Absolutely the case, but of course, Harry's wife can't see it. And on the comments go all critical of her, nobody defending her, all sick and tired of the industrial beige that this narcissist spouts. This, of course, exhibits her magical thinking and the revision of history. It provides us with another opportunity to understand her narcissism in action. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.